Hi, I'm Marilyn, and I want to welcome you today to Exposing Grief. When we expose anything, it becomes less threatening. To expose loss and grief will provide us with some emotional control. In 2020, we laid the foundation for these conversations. Over 12 episodes, we explained how loss and grief can and does occur at any age or any stage in life. You can go back and listen to those foundational podcast episodes, or you can begin listening today as part of your personal journey to be more emotionally and mentally healthy. This journey is truly personal. You cannot force anyone to become healthy physically or emotionally. The person has to want to be healthy and must be willing to do all the hard work to become that way. Anyone who constantly believes their emotional well-being comes from outside of themselves is probably not ready to work toward changes in their own emotional and mental health. They truly believe that if others would change, then everything will be fine. Generally, they feel misunderstood and believe they are victims of other people's actions. If you are starting to feel more comfortable with your approach to maintain your own mental and emotional health, I urge you to start conversations with those in your circle of influence. Reach out to someone who feels like a victim. Maybe you can let them know of some of the skills you are learning to take care of your own emotional health. There are times when people feel all alone and don't believe that others struggle as much as they do themselves. If you're open and honest, you might help others be more that way also. Don't be afraid of being vulnerable. However, if you are not there yet, where you feel safe talking to others, I suggest practicing those conversations when you are alone. By practicing, you will be ready when the opportunity presents itself for you to speak positively into someone's life. If the conversation you start becomes too intense for you, apologize for starting it, but leave the door open for a future date to have conversations on the topic of emotional health. There are many people who do not realize that loss and grief in life need to be resolved if they are to function to their maximum potential. Again, many people do not have a safe space in order to process their emotions. Hopefully, you can ultimately be a safe space for someone. Today, I also wanted to give you another 2 phrases to use when you do self-reflection exercises. To those of you new to that phrase, self-reflection is just a way to examine how you are truly feeling emotionally. It is a 15-minute free writing where you write out responses to a given phrase or phrases. You don't think about the phrase in advance. You just write for 5 minutes on whatever comes to mind after reading or hearing the phrase. The exercise is best done with pen or pencil and paper. If you use a computer, there will be some benefit, of course, but maximum benefit comes from writing out your thoughts by hand. Set aside a 20-minute uninterrupted time frame for this exercise. I use one piece of paper, giving myself 5 minutes on each side. You don't want to be distracted, so I suggest one sheet using both sides of the paper or 2 separate pieces of paper. Set a timer for 5 minutes. The first phrase is, if I could start again, then I would. Write as far down the sheet of paper as you can in the 5-minute period. Do not go over 5 minutes. If you fill up the entire side of your sheet, go to the other side, but stop at the timer. Set the timer a second time for 5 minutes. The second phrase is, since I cannot start again, then I will. Write out sentences, phrases, thoughts, and ideas around that phrase. There is no right or wrong. Continue writing until the timer expires. Set the timer again for 5 final minutes. Evaluate or reflect upon all the thoughts and ideas you have written down over the last 10 minutes. You can cross through some or add others. Put the paper away in a folder you have designated for your self-reflection exercises. 5 minutes may feel like a short time for you to write, or it may seem extremely long. At this stage in life, I don't self-reflect as much, but I try to journal how I feel about what emotions may come up because of the phrases I work through. Sometimes the exercises have caused me to laugh, and other times they have caused me to cry. If you need professional help, do not hesitate to seek out someone to help you process your emotional journey. These conversations about loss, grief, and emotional well-being are necessary and perhaps well overdue. Be a part of these important conversations. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to visit with you next time on Exposing Grief.